Night Thief. At first, I thought he was a fool. Night Thief helps interdimensional travelers take over their hosts and retain full consciousness and control. But I was home in my own body. Was he trying to poison me? Night Thief took months to kill. I shuddered, and then I couldn't move. Not my head, not my hand. Yet my lungs breathed without me, and my voice spoke someone else's words. About time. Theo smiled as he rose to let me up. Always a pleasure to meet anyone from the home office. I would have screamed if I could. The 3 dimensions in which Triad existed were my own, the Triadverse, a world very close to my own but only a few years ahead in technology, and the home office, a futuristic hellscape where ruthlessness ruled and profit was God. During my adventures in different dimensions, I've lived within many of my other selves and learned who I would be if history had unfolded just a bit differently. I could dwell in a Russian palace or under the sea. Sometimes other versions of me made choices I didn't understand. Sometimes they dealt with depression and solitude, but none of them had horrified me more than my home office version. She did Triad's bidding. She wouldn't hesitate to kill. She loved to cause pain, but she called her art. And she had hijacked my body, leaving me powerless. She seemed to be in charge, too, because Theo asked her, "So, what's our first assignment?" "Figure out what they're up to." She smiled. Feeling her smile, knowing that she enjoyed turning my body into a prison of flesh and bone, it revolted me more than anything else ever had. My parents aren't the kind of people to surrender, even if it's the smart thing to do, in any universe. But once the versions here have been outsmarted a few times, sabotaged a few times more, well, we might be able to bring them in line yet. Theo nodded and helped her to her feet. "And if we don't get them to work for our cause?" She laughed. "Then it's time for this dimension to die." The Firebird only allows you to visit universes in which you exist, because your consciousness can only leap into another version of yourself. I prided myself on taking good care of the other Marguerites, on getting them out of any danger I got them into. But then I caused some problems I couldn't solve. One version of Theo may never walk again because of me. Another Marguerite has been caught up in a multi-dimensional conspiracy she should never have had to be a part of. And a second me, one I inhabited for nearly a month, one in which I realized I was in love with Paul Markov and went to bed with him, is now expecting the baby I conceived for her. So I'd come back to my own dimension, humbled, ashamed, determined. There had to be more ethical ways of traveling through the world, ways that wouldn't endanger or violate our other selves. But I had no idea how profound the violation was until another Marguerite leaped into me. "Look at this mess," sneered the other Marguerite in my body, the one I'd already begun to think of as the wicked Marguerite. She shoved a stack of papers covered with scribbled formulae, and they fluttered to the Turkish rug on the floor. As she glanced around the room through my eyes, at the books and the potted plants, the blackboard paint wall with its chalk equations, and the rainbow table Josie and I hand-painted as children, she didn't see home. Instead, my lips curled in contempt. Primitive. Disorganized. They might as well live in a cave. "Yeah, well, you have to stick around in this cave for a while, so get used to it." Theo kicked back in one of the chairs, resting his chucks on the edge of the table. "What's the game plan?" "We pretend to belong here." The wicked Marguerite looked down at the bracelet on my wrist with distaste, then slid it off. "You're good at that, I know. We don't sabotage them right away. We wait, let them think the crisis is over, catch them off guard. But there's one problem we have to take care of right away, and that's Paul Markov." My terror deepened. Paul knew about most of this. I'd been able to tell him the most important parts back in the Cambridge verse, but that knowledge had put his life in danger.